What did the tea leaves say, Clarice? What did they say? Hey guys, it's another random review. I know I'm supposed to have reviewed The Prestige like months ago now, but just kind of on the spur of the moment decided to review Silence of the Lambs. This is a movie that is incredible. It still stands up in the fact that it's almost it's over 20 years old now, 25, 26 years old. This movie is still incredible. It is one of the best movies ever made in terms of criminal psychology, and it has one of the best performances of all time. Silence of the Lambs is about Clarice Starling, a FBI cadet who is, because of her skill but her lack of experience, is put into the realm of a hunt for a serial killer called Buffalo Bill, a guy who is skinning his victims. Going through this investigation, her senior advisor basically tells her to go to Hannibal Lecter. He's part of this program in which they interview previous psychopaths, killers, murderers, rapists, and they kind of amalgamate that into a research program, a tool to try and hunt down killers. Really, that aspect of the film is dropped right off the bat because basically it's just between Clarice and Hannibal Lecter. And while they only share 4 scenes together in the film, they are the best, some of the best parts of the film. There's a lot of parts that are great for this movie. I remember watching this for the first time when I was a kid. You know, I was like 12, well, teenager, whatever, 13 years old, and this movie scared the shit out of me. The performance by Anthony Hopkins is incredible. His role in this film is phenomenal for so many reasons. He combines so many different artistic styles and sort of mental images of previous serial killers. He takes notes from different friends. He had a friend of his that didn't blink, who would not blink, and so he puts that into the role. There are a lot of times where he's giving Clarice that stare and he just doesn't blink, and it is so unnerving. And while he is absolutely terrifying to talk to and to have talk to you, as he does lots of times in the film directly to the camera, you can't help but be entranced because Hopkins just pulls you into this role, and is a far cry from movies that Hopkins has done in the past little while. Jodie Foster does a great job of putting herself into the role of someone who isn't experienced but is still willing, but is also haunted by images of her. There's something about this film though that has stuck with me for a long time, and it's what my mom said about this movie. When she saw the sequel for it, she hated Hannibal, because the thing that she talked about that she liked in the first one is that they described what was happening in the film in terms of gore or brutal mutilations. They would talk about it, they would even show the characters' reactions to it, but you never really saw what they did. Sure, you see Anthony Hopkins bite the guy's face, and then at one point where the guy's hanging all moth-like on the wall, but you never see anything up close. And that was something that has always stuck with me, that my mom has said, is that your imagination can provide something far more horrifying than what you see in the film. And she's true with that. Every moment that there's something that could have been shown, they don't. And it creates a way more better scare, a way better thrill than would have had it been shown. It's something that I've always said about Drive. I love Drive, but that scene where Ryan Gosling's kicking that guy's head in the elevator, you didn't need to see the guy's head be crushed in. You already got the assumption of what he was doing after the 27th kick to the head. So that is what I like so much about Silence of the Lambs, is that it uses your own imagination, your own horrors against you. And the performance by Ted Levine as Buffalo Bill is still his best role yet. I know him from this as well as Al Pacino's buddy cop in Heat. And those two roles are completely polar opposite, but he is terrifying. His whole amalgamation of a combined combination of Ed Gein, Ted Bundy, and one other guy I can't remember, all together is an absolute horror. Jonathan Demme as the director did an amazing role in this film. This is one of his best movies that he ever did, but this guy had hit after hit after hit with Philadelphia, the Manchurian Candidate remake, The Pelican Brief, and this film. He unfortunately died earlier this year, and is a great loss because this guy was definitely one of the best directors of the 90s, for sure. In the end, though, of course I'm going to give Silence of the Lambs a 7 out of 7. It is one of the best thriller, investigative, murder, psychopath movies ever made. The performances in this film are fantastic. The pacing is great. The editing is on point. The thrills and the horrors and the scares are great. They're not jump scare. And that final scene, there's 3 scenes really that creep me, that just put me right on edge, is when she's talking to Hannibal Lecter in the new cage where he's got his head down like this the whole time, he's giving her the stare. The part where the face, and the last scene with the night vision goggles always gets me. But in the end, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I've pretty much been the millionth person to tell you that this movie is great. And I know everyone talks about the fava beans part, and they make fun of that and everything, but you know what? It's way over-exaggerated by everyone now. Anthony Hopkins doesn't do it that overly dramatic when he does it in the film. But either way, this is still one of the best films that was ever made in the 90s, and it's something that you should definitely see if you have not already seen it. Anyways, guys, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this review. See you guys next time.